Hi guys, let's review Hisense 65Q8 UltraHD TV. Unlike other channels, my channel will not show the physical product and point fingers of each corners of the products stating the features. Instead, my channel will provide numerical facts and completed figures, which you can use this video as a bible for this product. If you still not subscribe this channel, hit that subscribe button. Help me to reach 1000 subscribers this month. Let's jump into the review. Some of us are old enough to remember when made in Japan meant cheap and cheerful. And then, over the years, made in Japan came to mean quality. Hisense is a Chinese brand. It has long since ceased to be cheap, although the pricing generally remains pleasing. And I think it is now nearing the completion of the journey to quality. Which brings us to the Hisense 65Q8 UltraHD TV. Hisense 65Q8 features. Q is, for the moment, Hisense's premium range. Expect later this year its OLED challenging yield dual-cell TV. Let's briefly run down the features of this year's Q8 range from Hisense's product page for this TV. Full Array Local Dimming Pro Dash. Since LCD screens can't fully block light, they tend to be rather gray in what are supposed to be black areas of the picture. One way of overcoming this is to use a grid array of lights behind the screen and dynamically adjust the individual brightness of each so as to improve picture contrast. Hisense is coy about precisely how many dependent zones are lit, but puts it at more than 100. Quantum.color, by exciting carefully chosen molecules. Precise wavelengths of light are created which improve the performance of the red, green, blue color filters, and also increase the efficiency of the panel. Dolby Vision HDR, they're Hisense's words. Dolby Vision is a kind of superset of HDR. HDR uses 10 bits per color, rather than 8. That makes for 1024 levels for each primary color rather than 256. And that makes for a billion colors, and many times the number of levels between full black and full white. That in turn eliminates paint by the numbers color banding, permitting smoother color and brightness graduations. Dolby Vision extends that to 12 bits, 4096 levels per color. 68 billion colors dash. Plus implements a scene-by-scene sliding scale optimized for the content. No banding. Just smoothness from black to white and across each color. Yet more features. Anti-glare screen, improved from last year. Hisense says that it only reflects 1.5% of incident light. Dolby Atmos, the write-up is a little floored for a system limited to built-in speakers. Powered by VDA 4, that's Hisense's smart TV operating system. Although some other Hisense models use Android instead. This year VDA has been completely reworked from previous models. Freeview Plus, these are the smart TV additions to Australian broadcast TV, allowing streaming of certain TV shows and an enhanced TPG. Initially I thought this wasn't working, since the Freeview Plus logo wasn't appearing when I switched to ABC and SBS. Stabbing the color buttons didn't do any good. But before writing it off, I went searching through the setup menu and found a button to turn on HBB TV. That stands for Hybrid Broadcast Broadband TV and is the system upon which Freeview Plus is built. This really should be switched on by default in an Australian model. Other features Hisense mentioned in a briefing were 1000 nit peak brightness and front-firing speakers. Plus there's a low-latency games mode. I have provided links for purchase in YouTube description box. Do not forget to click and check the current price before buying. Hisense 65Q8. 65 is the size, in inches, of this TV. It's priced at just under $2,500. There are also versions in 55 inches, $1.8K, 75 inches, $3.7K, and 85 inches, $5.5K. That price, just over $5,000 for an 85-inch TV, is simply astonishing. That's just a little bit bigger than my projection screen. Hisense 65Q8 control. The first thing I noticed about this TV and its current version of VDA can be summed up in one word: responsive. You press a button and the TV responds. None of that spinning icon thinking about it stuff. Hisense has packed a decently power processor into this TV. It tells me that the processor is of its own design, rather than an off-the-shelf model. There are lots of apps already on the TV, including Netflix, YouTube, Amazon Prime Video, Stan, Tubi and so on. Several of those have dedicated keys on one of the two remote controls provided with the TV. As it happens, the review TV didn't have either of the real remotes, but a slightly different IR one. But the TV you buy will have two, one using IR and one using IR and Bluetooth. The latter is a voice remote. You can press a button and speak into it to talk to the TV. Why talk to it? Because the TV has Alexa built in. You can use Alexa to tell it to do things, even if you don't have any other Alexa devices. The Hisense 65Q8 TV also supports voice control from Google Home. But for this you will need to have a Google Home device to speak to. Talking to a TV. Since I didn't have the correct remote control, I could not test out how well it worked with Alexa. But I do have Alexa devices, so I simply used those. I set up Alexa on the TV. You have to sign up for a free VDA account, and all went as smoothly as it can with Alexa. As usual, doing the whole voice control thing can be a bit hit and miss. Simple things like Alexa, mute Hisense worked fine. But then I tried something a little more complicated. Alexa, play Netflix on Hisense. The Echo Show 8 to which I was speaking said OK, and moments later the TV started showing an episode of Peppa Pig. It wasn't clear what service it was playing from. As always with voice control, just practice a bit and see what works. No doubt more functions will become available. Google Home also worked, although I must note that the on-screen instructions on the TV left several steps out. I did manage to find the relevant bit of the Google Home app and enable the VDA Voice, not VDA Voice, Australia, service. Here's how. In the app, go to the home screen. Then tap the settings cog at top right. Scroll down to Works with Google, then look for VDA under Add New. They're the instructions that should appear on the TV's screen. And, indeed, just this afternoon I spoke to Hisense Australia and pointed this out. They'll almost certainly improve those instructions in a future firmware update. Other network functions on the Hisense 65Q8. Oh, one more thing. When you're setting up a new smart TV, you're going to be typing in your account details, or registering for VDA or whatever. Arrowing around the on-screen keyboard is a pain. I plugged the dongle of a Logitech keyboard into one of the USB ports on the TV, and just tapped away rapidly with my various details. I could stream photos, video and music from my NAS using UPnP software. My photo test pattern revealed that the TV scales photos directly down to Ultra HD resolution and retains full color resolution. Some TVs run photos through a 1080p bottleneck. Videos worked nicely too. Watching stuff on the Hisense 65Q8 UltraHD. I generally run through a series of clips, which I've identified over the years, to check different aspects of picture performance. So, of course, I did that with the Hisense 65Q8 UltraHD. First, how does the TV handle 576i50 video coming from an Australian DVD? Pretty well, as it turns out. This TV succeeded to produce a decent image even with DVD and SDTV input. My rule is, in general, turn down the sharpness control on a TV to 0. Typically they emulate old-fashioned analog sharpening. But this TV managed to pull off the trick of producing effective sharpening, even of standard definition stuff. Without the usual detail mashing ghosting of most sharpening processes. I think this is to do with Hisense's new AI upscaler. In fact, all the picture processing stuff was up there with the best. Progressive scan conversion of Australian DVDs, 576i50, and HDTV, and some Blu-rays, 1080i50, was very solid. With the TV judging the correct strategy to use on all but the most difficult elements. One weakness was at the start of Chapter 10 of the Miss Potter Blu-ray, which is in 1080i. As the camera pans down over the title character's new home, most TVs get briefly confused as the pan draws to an end. And this manifests as a small wobble in the window frames of the house. But this TV managed to make the whole picture jiggle a little. Perhaps the AI was confused. That said, that was the only truly weird behavior. Although Miss Potter did have me tweaking the color a little. The greens came on a little too strongly. Also impressive was the motion smoothing. It introduced very little distortion in the picture. Full array backlighting. I generally do my serious viewing in a darkened room, so any weaknesses in black levels are usually quite apparent. In fact, the black levels of this TV were generally very impressive. On a couple of dark scenes I did notice a little mottling, which looked like the backlight breaking through near the edges of the screen. Just a little. Oddly, it was reminiscent of what you see with some edge-lit TVs. But this TV uses a LED array, so I went investigating. Using a test pattern consisting of a fully black background with just 2 bright pixels, I could see that the local area lighting patches were quite small. My best estimate is that the backlight is constituted by a grid of LEDs, 16 LEDs wide by 9 LEDs tall. That makes for a total of 144 lighting zones. That's quite fine discrimination. I think the mottled scene that troubled me must have had some low-level picture information in certain areas. That caused the backlights to illuminate. I expect that the 55-inch model would have fewer zones, while the larger TVs would have more. Conclusion. All this means that the Hisense 65Q8 produces an extremely good picture. Add to that the strong smart TV functionality and the very respectable price, and Hisense clearly has a winner on its hands. If you enjoyed the video, you guys can initiate a discussion in the comment box, if you have any different opinions about the contents in this video. Be the first to start the debate in the box below. Purchase links related to the products in this video are kept in description. We will be grateful, if you could please make your next purchase from that link, as this will help us to grow our channel. Good morning, good evening and good night, whichever part of the world you are from. Don't forget to subscribe to stay connected. I will assure you to make quality and interesting videos in future. This is Jason Peter, signing off.